Should we talk about Spurs? They lost yesterday down in Perth. Ange Postecoglou, the new manager there, Graeme. But they played a style of football that many of the fans sort of appreciated. It was high press. Most of the time was spent in West Ham's territory. But they did defensively still look a little bit vulnerable. How do they plug those gaps?
Well, the Sky Bet survey says their supporters are not very confident about them having a good season. They don't see themselves winning a cup, and they don't see themselves being in the top four. You've heard it before, Sam. Ignore pre-season results. I'm sure Ange will try to get them on the front foot. That's the way he chooses to play. But I think difficult season ahead for Spurs. And then you factor in, will Harry be there next year or not? Without his goals, where would he have been in the last 5, 6, 7 years? No, they've had. It sounds like, because that was my first love. I think I've said this to you before. Spurs are a big football club. You know, they should be one of the big guys around. They've won one League Cup in 23 years. That's miserable. That just ain't good enough. You can throw all the excuses in you want, but that just ain't good enough. The number one thing you have to get right at a football club, as I've said already, is recruitment. Historically, they don't do that very well, and that's why they don't win trophies. Apart from that, it's all good news for them.
Graeme, you had your time playing abroad, obviously, at Sampdoria. It looks like Harry Kane has that option, maybe with Paris Saint-Germain, certainly interest from Bayern Munich. He's got a year left on his contract, so a big decision for Spurs to make. But just put yourself in Harry Kane's shoes. If you were Harry Kane, would you be knocking on the door to Daniel Levy and trying to force through this move to Bayern Munich?
I had a chance to go to Bayern Munich when I was a Liverpool player. For people that don't know, Bayern Munich are obviously the biggest club, but they're the biggest club by far in Germany. Then you've got Dortmund, and historically, I mean, there's other ones that were sort of second to them. But Bayern they are called FC Hollywood in Germany. Great city to live in, great football club, tremendous history. Generally win the league every year. If I was Harry, I'd go for it big time. Go for it. And Germany's a great country as well, especially Bavaria. So if I was Harry, I'd go for it. He's done his bit for Spurs. He can leave there with his head held up high. No guilt if he was to leave there. I mean, so this is Harry's still at his best, although maybe a year from now I'd be saying something different. Because strikers, it is the toughest place to play, hardest place to play. And he'd be going to a club where you get lots and lots of goals. It would extend his career as well, playing in a very good standard. Not as good as the Premier League, less demanding physically. He'd get lots of goals. He would love his life there. His family would love his life there. And he'd come back with a suitcase full of medals. For me, I would go for it. It's one of the great clubs in world football.